Between 2010 and 2018, the term evergreen content was sort of a buzzword around podcasting. But what does it actually mean? Well, in this episode of Podcasting Insights, I'm going to share with you why no content is truly evergreen and how to keep those old episodes alive without lying to yourself. Let's do it. Podcasting Insights. People love the idea of evergreen content. I mean, it sounds so reassuring, doesn't it? Like once you've made something, you can just leave it there forever. Like a casserole in the freezer that you're absolutely, definitely going to eat one day. The ones where you think, yeah, I probably wouldn't say that now. Let's talk about those. Evergreen started off as a sensible idea. It meant an episode that wasn't tied to a specific news event or topical timeline. Not a trending piece, in other words. Not, here's what happened last Tuesday. Evergreen as a term quietly mutated. It stopped meaning still useful even over time and started meaning I'm never going to think about this again. Evergreen became emotional insulation. And honestly, I get it, because revisiting old content forces you to confront some deeply irritating truths. That, you'd probably explain it all differently now. You've learned more. You've changed your mind. Some tools you confidently recommended no longer exist, were acquired, or maybe turned into a flaming bin fire. Or worse, the episode didn't do very well, and your brain has slapped a big red sticker on it that says, "Do not draw attention to this ever." So instead of dealing with any of that, most podcasters do the most human thing possible. They move on. They publish new episodes in the hope that they bury those old ones in the feed, and they promote the latest thing. They pretend the back catalogue is still working for them. Meanwhile, the back catalogue quietly turns into a content drawer. Still there, technically useful, full of stuff that you'll sort through one day, probably haunted. And here's where I want to be a bit annoying in a loving way to you. Evergreen does not mean timeless. It does not mean always correct. It does not mean perfectly current enough. And it definitely does not mean immune to context, reality, or mild cringe. Evergreen actually means something much less impressive. The core problem still exists, the thinking still mostly holds up, and someone can still get something useful out of it without you having to apologize first. That's it. If you're holding your old episodes to some imaginary gold standard of perfection, you're never going to use them again, and you don't need to lie to yourself about why. Podcasting Insights. So let's talk about why people stop sharing the old episodes, because this bit gets weirdly emotional for some. Some people stop because they're embarrassed by their earlier confidence. Some stop because the audio isn't as good as their current stuff. Some stop because the episode mentions platforms or tactics that have completely changed. And some stopped because, well, frankly, it all flopped. And that one kind of hurts. Because even though everyone pretends they don't care about their numbers, the brain remembers them vividly, like a traumatic event. With charts. So, instead of asking, is this still useful? We tend to ask, what if people were to judge this now? And that's how content quietly dies. Not because it stopped being valuable, but because you stopped wanting to be associated with it. Podcasting Insights. So let's actually make this episode earn its place. There are 3 ways to keep old podcast episodes alive, honestly. No pretending, no marketing gymnastics, no just rediscovered this gem nonsense. First, reintroduce the episodes. Don't just reshare them. Stop flinging links around like time is fake. Say why it still matters now. Or, I'd explain parts of this differently today, but the core problem hasn't gone anywhere. That level of honesty builds trust instantly, and it's much less embarrassing than pretending that it's brand new and hoping nobody notices you referenced Clubhouse with a straight face. Secondly, update the context, not the content. You don't need to re-record everything, just add a short new intro, add a line at the top of the episode description. Explain what's changed since it was recorded. You're not rewriting history here, you're adding footnotes, which is a very much calmer, more grown-up energy. Much better than quietly panicking and doing nothing. And thirdly, this is the one people hate hearing, so I do apologize in advance. But some episodes are allowed to die. Not everything deserves saving. Some episodes were experiments, some were placeholders, some were okay. Letting them go doesn't mean you failed. It means you're curating, not hoarding. Dragging every single episode into the present like some kind of wounded soldier helps nobody, least of all you. Here's the sneaky upside of all this. Once you stop trying to be timeless, something loosens. You stop trying to future-proof every single sentence you utter. You stop over-explaining. So, if your back catalogue of episodes feels awkward, ignored, or quietly avoided, that's not a sign you've messed up. It's a sign that you've changed, you've grown, you've progressed. You don't need more episodes. You probably don't even need a new strategy around this. You just need to stop pretending the past version of you was either perfect or embarrassing. Treat the work you've already done with a bit more honesty and a bit more respect. We all came from somewhere. And just having grown and progressed doesn't make previous you invalid. I hope this has prevented you from wasting hours of your time going back and deleting old episodes just to re-record them again. Hopefully I've given you an idea of how you might be able to repurpose some of that content. If you use a platform, such as a Buzzsprout or a Captivate, that allows you to dynamically inject new content on your old episodes, maybe consider how you could use that tool to inject a bit of fresh perspective on the beginnings and the ends of your old episodes. I hope you found this episode useful, and if you did, please do share it with another podcaster that you think might find it useful. If you haven't yet, smash that subscribe button on YouTube. It really helps us to get discovered by more like-minded podcasters within the YouTube algorithm. And until the next episode, I am wishing you continued luck and success with your journey towards attaining Podmastery. Find out more about the show at podmastery.co.
Podcasting Insight.